All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh by Shemi Shai by Shem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Zion from GMS. Back with another edifying video. And I want to play a clip of a doctor. Let me see. Let me just make sure I get her name correct. So bear with me 1 second. Dr. Welsing. I believe her name is Dr. Let me see. Dr. Cress. Right. So Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. And she was on an interview. I'm not sure. This is a clip, right, that I saw. It's from 1973. And she is speaking on the Caucasian, the so-called white man in his race, who we understand to be the Edomites or Esau. And even back then, she was making some valid points, some good points. And, the first thing I thought about was the scriptures, because we've been told so many lies since we've been in America as a people. And it's thanks to the internet, thanks to us being able to transfer information, thanks to video, ultimately thanks to Yahweh Shemi Shai allowing us to have this technology in these last days so we can find these records, keep these records, and then present the truth on a wide scale, on a broad scale. Now she's definitely an Israelite, so-called black woman, back in the 70s during the, post-civil rights, really post-Black Panther era. But our people were still in the mindset of being conscious, all right, even back in the early 70s. So this whole revival of the black consciousness and Egyptology movement, it's not nothing new. It's just that we've been given access through the internet to share information on a wide scale, but our people were always in a state of awakening. Even with hip-hop into the 80s and 90s, then eventually Esau intervened, our enemy intervened, and created the black culture that we have today. But it was also during this time, the early 70s, where you had the truth being pushed in Harlem, New York. I believe the elder high priest Albert Vivens was still alive at this point, and I think he passed. If not 73, it was in the 70s after the school in 1969 was open, and then of course you had King Masha, High Priest Ariah, High Priest Yaquab, and the other men that came under them, further the truth. And then, of course, you had the men we know today and who we learned from today, Apostle Har, Apostle Kabar, Apostle Wakar, General Yohana, General Nate, the different men that came out of One West, HODC, HOI. So that was something that from 1969 to the 70s was being pushed. And then you had Israel as a whole were awakening, loving themselves and who they are. Anyway, so this is a clip from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, and I just want to play a little bit of it, of what she says about so-called white people in Esau, and then I'm going to go into the scriptures, okay? Because we've been told lies about who we are and who these people are and who the Lord's true chosen people are in the scriptures, okay? So this is fair use. Fair use, not making any money, just educating.
To a black psychotherapist, I want to have a black baby.
Why?
I say why because white people, if we look at the skin color white is the genetic inability to produce color. It is a genetic deficiency state. It is a form of albinism. It has never been discussed in this way, but genetically, biologically, this is what it is. White people they don't have the capacity to produce color. They wish they could. This is why they spend a lot of time sun tanning, makeup, all of that is trying to give color to colorless skins, okay? Now, because they have this deep psychological need, they are the only people in the world, they are the minority in the world who cannot produce color. And so they can't produce it, they can't make it on their own. They try to suntan, and then at the sexual level, they have attractions to people who can give them the illusion that they have participated in the production of color. So the white man has gone all over the entire world, having sexual relations with every group of non-white women that he meets. The white woman, when she has been allowed to, sexually aggressive towards men of color.
She is allowed to.
And so then she gives vent verbally to that fantasy. I want to have a product of color because this is the one thing that I can't do.
So that was the clip, and she was speaking on the color of so-called white people and their deficiency. Okay. So what I want to do is go into the scriptures, because what she has, what she said is true. Now, let me say this as a disclaimer. You have Israelites, all right? You have Israelites that also look like so-called white people. Not every so-called white or Caucasian person that you see is an Edomite, is of the line of Esau. All right? Even amongst the so-called small hats, what we call the J-ish people, you even have Israelites among them. They look like a so-called white person, but their father's family line goes back to an Israelite, which therefore makes them Israelites. Okay? You have a lot of people saying, oh, those are mamzers and mixed people, and no, they're Israelites. All right? Your nationality is determined by the sperm of your father. Okay? Now, with that being said, Edomites as a whole, or Caucasians as a whole, they have something which is known in the scriptures as leprosy. Okay? Now, science and the medical world today would tell you that leprosy is, a skin condition to where it is, boils and scars, right? Which leprosy is actually, today, it would be either albinism, which would be a clean leper in the scriptures, or it would be what's also known today as vitiligo, all right, which was made famous by Michael Jackson. So let's see what it says about leprosy and about. Well, actually, before I go here, so let's go into the scriptures. Let's go to Genesis, the 25th chapter. And this is Israelite 101, Hebrew Israelite 101. But I came across that video and she was very well spoken about it. But we have to get the full truth, the full scope of the truth of why so-called white people are the color they are, or the lack thereof, and even why they cleave unto the dark-skinned nations. So this is Leviticus chapter 25. Leviticus 25 and 21. It says, and Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, the wife of Isaac, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. So that means that she had twins. All right? Which they were fraternal twins, not identical twins. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh. So she went to a man of the Lord to inquire. And the children struggling, they were in the womb, she was having pregnancy complications. Okay? Verse 23, and the Lord Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So that means two nations, 2 races. 2 races of people, 2 ethnic groups. 2 different ethnic groups, 2 different races, 2 different nations. Nations, races, ethnic groups, that's the same thing. Not nations is in countries. Countries today are really corporations. In the business and the corporation, you go to a job, you have a president, you have CEO, right? And you have different people who qualify for the job to work in that particular business. Same thing with America. You qualify to be a citizen. You have a president, right? He's the chief over the military, right? He's over the executive branch. So he's the chief executive officer of America. And anyone that qualifies to be a citizen can live and work here. Same concept, same thing. So nations is really talking about races of people. Okay? It says, in 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So 2 different mannerisms, 2 different spirits, 2 different nations that are going to have 2 different customs, all right, are going to be separated from the womb of Rebekah. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. So one people is going to be mentally, spiritually, and physically stronger than the other people, right? And the elder shall serve the younger. So the older will obviously have to be the weaker brother. The younger will have to be the strongest. Okay? Because he that serves the strongest. Okay? And ultimately, the Lord can put, now the scripture says the Lord is, in prophecy, the Lord put a people that is not a people over the Israelites, which is why we have Esau, Edom over us today. But that's another lesson. Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, so after those 9 months, behold, there were twins in her womb. Okay? Twins in her womb. So she had fraternal twins. I'm on my laptop here, so I'm going to just bring out what it means to be a fraternal twin. Let's see. So it says, what is the difference between fraternal and paternal twins? The main difference in fraternal versus paternal twins is the number of fertilized eggs involved. This is dealing with the embryos and the eggs. What I want here. Now it says, can fraternal twins look alike? Fraternal twins can look alike as much as 2 siblings can look alike. Again, fraternal twins are not identical, and do not share the same chromosomes and genes. So they're not identical twins. Okay? So basically, they're just two siblings but born together. All right, so she said there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red, right? So they're not identical twins. And the first, which is the elder that we read about in 23rd verse, the elder came out red all over like an hairy garment. Not that the child came out hairy, but just as a garment is hairy all over, if you were to get a fur coat and there's fur all over the coat, well, this child was red, meaning he was red in color all over, meaning he lacked pigment, no melanin when he came out. And they called his name Esau. So all over his body, he lacked pigment. Okay? And after that came his brother out. Doesn't say anything about any difference in his look because he came out dark-skinned like the rest of the nations in the earth. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, right? And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old, 60, when she bare them. So Isaac didn't have his first children until he was 60 years old. Okay? So that's one clue dealing with the lack of melanin that Dr. Cress Welsing was speaking on. Francis Cress Welsing. Okay? Verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau, which was red all over, was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. So he was a man that liked to hunt. That is definitely talking about the Caucasian race. All right, as a whole, we are definitely, especially here in America, they are known for hunting. Whether they be trophy hunters, whether they be game hunters, that's just a characteristic of so-called white people. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So-called black people are very chill. These are all characteristics. Like, there's nothing deep to read about this, to read into this. It is what it is. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Our people tend to stick to their neighborhoods, stick to their homes. Right? Today, Jake would say he liked to hug the block. Right? And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. See, the scriptures give us a spiritual... See, he who has eyes to see and ears to hear, let him hear. The scriptures are clearly letting us know the two people that it's talking about, the two nations, the two races of people that it's talking about, so-called black and so-called white. Okay? Esau is loved because he can hunt. Jacob is a mama's boy. Our people are known for loving their mama. All right? Whether you're so-called black, Hispanic, or Native American, you love your mama. Right? Mama can do no wrong. What they say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Papa was a rolling stone. That's a proverb amongst our people. A saying amongst our people. It's a saying amongst, speaking about so-called white people, all them white boys love to hunt. Well, that's in the Bible. It's found in the scriptures. Okay? So now what I want to deal with next, now that I have the story and the truth established, let's go into further proof that Jacob being the progenitor, um, being the progenitor of the Israelites, which out of them came the Judah, the tribe of Judah, or the Jews, right? Benjamin, Levi, and the other tribes, right? That he would have to be a so-called black man. Let's see here. So we have to go to the book of Leviticus. And like I said, this is Israelite truth 101, the basics. But the scriptures tell you about white skin. So going back into dealing with leprosy. Okay, you know what? Hold up, before I get this. So I searched this, leprosy in the Bible. Okay, so leprosy is mentioned in the Bible in several ways. And this is from AI, so they pull it from anywhere. Punishment for sin. In the Hebrew Bible, leprosy was often seen as a punishment for sin and was associated with death. Okay, AI don't know what they're talking about. Not what does leprosy symbolize, but what is leprosy? They're going into the curse and all, and what does it mean spiritually? Okay, what does the Bible say about leprosy? Okay, and these are different precepts. Leviticus 13:46. Leviticus 13. And this is in the ESV. Right, 1 through 14. It says, well, I'm actually going to read that. So it does mention about having white skin. All right, because that's leprosy. All right, a lot of the things that they say is leprosy today is not true leprosy. Okay, it's another disease. So let's go to Leviticus 13:1, the test for leprosy. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh, like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, unto one of his sons, the priest. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. Right, because when you get a scab or cut, and you get, you might, see that white flesh, but then there's times when you see in your skin a bright spot, a bright white spot, okay, then you would have to, go to the priest to see if it's leprosy. Okay. This is verse 4. If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in sight be not deeper than the skin, so you might just have white on your skin, right? Your skin might be lighter than the other, of your darker flesh. It says, and in sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair of be not turned white. So your hair might still be black, even though you have a white spot in your skin. Then the priest shall shut him up that hath the plague 7 days. Verse 5. And the priest shall look on him the 7th day after a week. And behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, meaning that it's not spread, you just got a white spot in your skin, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. So 1 more week just to make sure. And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, meaning now you're getting your color back, your dark skin, your melanin is returning back to that bright white spot in your skin. It says, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. So if you see your skin is white, you might have got injured, a scab, right? Then the priest will shut you up for a week. He'll check, see that it didn't spread, shut you up another week just to make sure. And if it come back and then he see that the scar is healing, the scab is healing, and it's turning back dark again, melanated again, then you're clean. Okay? It says, verse 7, but if the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he hath been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again. So now you got more white blotches on your skin. And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprosy. When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague, from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean. All right. So now, let's look this up. Let me see, a person all turned white. Okay, it says this. There are a few reasons why someone might appear white, including vitiligo, right? An autoimmune disease that causes the skin to lose pigment, resulting in white patches. Isn't that not what the scripture just said? White hair, all right? Did not we read about the white hair? A condition called leukotrichia that occurs when hair follicles lose pigment or melanin, right? And that's what happens when you get old, right? Your hair turns gray or white. This can happen due to extreme stress or illness that affects melanin production. It's also normal for hair to turn white as people age. Okay? Even Yahweh Shah had white hair, but he didn't have white skin. So this is what we're looking at here. This is leprosy. Okay? A black woman slowly turning white. Okay? So if it's spreading, that means she's really unclean. This is what you would call an unclean leper. Okay? So what you would have to do, what the priest would do, is they would have to be, separated until it's all turned white. This brother here, I turn from black to white. How a skin disorder changed. Right, I'm pretty sure it changed his life. You see a leper here. Okay, and I guess this is an image of him, when he was younger, and then as he got older, this is, how he looked. Okay, here we go here, and this is a pretty, famous image. A lot of brothers have used this image here. So, I'm not even sure if this is even the same girl, but you can see the one in the middle, right? She's turning. She started off white blotches in the skin. You see the white patches on the neck. If the priest would come in after a week and see that it's not spread, and then another week and see that it's turned dark again, then she would be pronounced clean. But if it's not and it's spreading, then she would be considered unclean. Then eventually her whole skin, or the Israelites' whole skin, will be turned white. So what is this condition? This is a lack of melanin. It's a lack of melanin. It's not anything. It's not anything, right? And we all know Michael Jackson, right? But this is a part of what the scriptures were speaking about. Okay? This is what Dr. Cress Welsing was speaking on. Okay? But first I had to go through the scriptures to give you an understanding. Now let's go to another scripture. Okay? Dealing with Moses. I'm going to put flesh, but I have it here. So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 4 and 4. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And I believe this is dealing with the serpent. Yeah. So his staff was turned into a serpent. And Moses was basically asking the Lord for signs that the Lord was dealing with him. Okay, it says, and he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. So Moses had spiritual power. Moses could turn a staff into a serpent, into a snake. And who gave him that power? The Most High. Verse 5, that they may believe that the Lord Yahweh, power of their fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord Yahweh said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. Right? And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous, as white as snow. So please, what color was Moses before he put his hand in his shirt and his garment? Yes, he was black, so-called black. He was dark-skinned. Okay? And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So once again, we have showing that white skin is a deficiency. Exodus 4 and 6. Then the Lord Yahweh said to Moses, now, and this in the NLT, now put your hand inside your cloak. So Moses put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out again, His hand was white as snow with a severe skin disease. What is a severe skin disease? Vitiligo or leprosy. The lack of pigment, the lack of melanin. Verse 7. Now put your hand back into your cloak, the Lord said. So Moses put his hand back in, and when he took it out again, it was as healthy as the rest of his body. So having his flesh turn white is unhealthy. Having his health turn back dark is healthy. Okay? So now let's look up, is melanin. Oh, you know what? I'll do this. Is dark skin healthy? Yes, darker skin has many health benefits, but it can still burn and get skin cancer. Yeah, you can burn. Protection from the sun. Darker skin has more melanin, which protects against sun damage and reduces the risk of sunburn. However, dark skin can still burn, so it's important to wear sunscreen. Which we really don't need to wear, sunscreen, especially those dark brothers and sisters, right? Love all my dark brothers and sisters. We love the Israelite foreigners too, okay? And they'll get their skin pigment back in the kingdom. So it says protection from the sun. Let's see, stronger skin, lower risk of skin cancer. Right, vitamin C. Vitamin C can help improve skin tone and texture for people with darker skin. So y'all take your vitamins. It can also help reduce brown spots and slow down the aging process. Well, we all know the famous saying about so-called dark skin, black skin, right? Black don't crack. Okay? So it says dark skin. By the melanin, dark pigmented people have a lower chance of developing skin cancer and conditions related to folate deficiency, such as neural tube defects. Let's see. So this is work in our lab has shown that darkly pigmented skin has far better function, including a better barrier to water loss, stronger cohesion. I have to click on it and see the rest. It says, this is from the ucsf.edu from 2016, so I didn't make this up. Darker skin is stronger skin, says new view of human skin color. Okay, so I'll read this. It says, work in our lab has shown that darkly pigmented skin has better function, including a better barrier to water loss, stronger cohesion, and better antimicrobial defense. And we began to ponder the possible evolutionary significance of that, said Peter Elias, MD, professor of dermatology. So I'm not sure if it said anything about the. Now this is from the University of California, San Francisco. Okay. So there you go. So was Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, was she lying? No. No, she wasn't. But there's a scriptural understanding that we have for dark skin and understanding what having white skin means. It's a leprosy, but it's a form of leprosy, but it's people out there that have clean leprosy. Okay? Is black skin or white skin better? This is just Google. This is something that anybody with any brain cells can do. Dark skin with large concentrations of melanin protects against ultraviolet light and skin cancers. Light-skinned people have about a tenfold greater risk of dying from skin cancer compared with dark-skinned persons under equal sunlight exposure. You know, this is from all the research. Do darker people age slower? Darker skinned people often look younger than their lighter skinned peers. We know who they're talking about. Their skin appears smoother and tends to have less wrinkles even as they get older. Do we have the wrong impression, or is there something really going on? It's true. Darker skin ages slower than lighter skin. And this is from BASF. We create chemistry. So they understand. They've done the research. Melanin protects against UV radiation. The more melanin we have, the greater the body's natural sun protection. The higher the melanin content, the more UV radiation can be absorbed before generating substantial damage to the skin. In fact, darker skin has a higher natural sun protection factor. The average sun protection factor is about 13 for dark skin compared to around 3 for light skin. And damage due to sun exposure is one of the major causes of aging. So, you know, this is all confirmed research. I didn't make any of this up. I just went into the scriptures and brought out the facts. Okay? So we understand who Esau is. Matter of fact, let's look up this. White, red skin, right? So when you look up white and red skin, right, there you go. Need I say more? So let's just deal with the facts. You know, a lot of times, you know, they like to take these videos, you know, these type of videos down. If they do, they do. Hey, you know, right? They do. You know? Let's see. Why is my white skin always red? What is going on when your skin is always red? The explanation could be quite simple. The most likely culprit is common rosacea. Onboard certified dermatologists at Manhattan Dermatology want you to be aware of changes in your skin and what those changes could mean. So y'all saw a brief image of, hey man, the scriptures don't lie, man. The Bible does not lie. Okay? Why do white people often have red cheeks? This is from 7 years ago. And why is that? Because they're out in the sun. You know? And when they go out in the sun, you know, let's see what a redneck is. A redneck, A working class white person, especially a politically reactionary one from a rural area. What is redneck? I'm gonna hold my peace on this term. Hey, brothers, feel free to use to have a new word in your vocabulary. I'm gonna just say this: they call us niggers, so there you go. Equal rights, equal opportunities. This is America. I'll just let you read it. So let's go back to the Bible, right? And I'm gonna pull the scripture. Let me go to the book of John, chapter 7, with verse 32. John 7, 35. No. John 8. Let's go to John 8 and 32. Right? The truth will make you free. Then said Yahushua to those Israelites which believed on him, that come from Judea, to those Judeans, I'll say that. Then said Yahushua to those Judeans, Israelites, which believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. Verse 32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And with that, I'll say shalom.